This is Peter Walsh with M&R.
Scott Ritter with the Decorated Apparel Expo.
This is Ben Landesman with Lawson Screen and Digital Products.
This is Deborah Sexton.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs
And Aaron Montgomery.
All right. Well, welcome into the show. It is Friday, May 20th, 2022. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Terry, today we've got a fantastic gentleman joining us here in just a moment. His name's Stan Banks, and he's with the T-Shirt Side Hustle. He started that program, and we're going to learn all about that. We're going to learn about kind of what's happening with new people coming into the industry, and just get the rundown of what's the latest and greatest. He's a man on the move and doing some really cool things, YouTube influencer, all sorts of good stuff. So I can't wait to talk to Stan here in a little bit and get all that info, Terry. But so what's happening with you?
Well, I have my bags packed over here in the corner and heading to Chicago, heading to the airport at lunchtime today, doing a screen printing class there in Chicago, and packed my rain jacket because, it's going to be in the 60s
here in the Midwest. Yep.
Yeah. So then I
Yeah.
started having this rush in my head going, oh man, I hope my flight isn't messed up with thunderstorms going on there. But anyway, I've only gotten to a class late once. I was stuck overnight in Dallas, and I got to the class. I landed right when the class was starting.
Wow.
So the Atlas Screen Supplies in Nashville were sitting outside the terminal waiting for me to jump in the car, and they were just kind of hanging out waiting for me. So
there you go. Awesome. All right. Well, I didn't see a whole lot of news, Terry. There wasn't anything that stood out to you this week?
No, nothing newsworthy other than you and I are both going to be in Indianapolis here in a couple of weeks. So but we'll see what news type things we run into as we're strolling around the show. Well, when you're strolling around the show, I'll be
exactly.
locked in my booth or in a seminar room.
I'll come borrow your recorder. All right. So let's check in with some of the regulators here real quick. And good morning to Chuck. And we've got Todd tuning in from Fat Dad Wholesale, and Barb over there at MN Custom Made, and Kristen and Rich, and good morning to everybody. Well, Terry, we still have to have a dad joke, though. Even if there's no news, there's always got to be a dad joke, right? I mean,
Aaron, we're getting a buildup of dad jokes at the bottom of our outline. I don't know if you noticed, I've got a backlog of dad jokes ready to go.
We've got those coming in, so we may have to start doing two to get to them. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, this particular one happens to be from my son, a newly 11-year-old son here. And he told me this the other day, and I thought it was pretty darn funny. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Okay. So what are the strongest days of the week?
I don't know, Aaron. What are the strongest days of the week?
Saturday and Sunday. The rest of them are weekdays.
That is actually pretty good.
Typical 11-year-old dad style joke there, folks. So All right.
Well, hey, before we jump into the rest of the show, Aaron, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys. We are always looking for new guests like today. And if you or anyone you know would like to participate and or suggest a show, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, Regular Guys, and share your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing us with all your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on any of the podcast areas that you might be listening: Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon. We're everywhere. And if you give us a review, that's very helpful for us. So please do that. And if you have comments or questions during the show today, please jump in and join us. And we would love to have your questions of our guests as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you again participate, ask Stan questions. Like I said, Stan's got his finger on the pulse of what's happening out there, and really kind of doing a lot of really cool things right now. So please jump in with any questions you have for Stan as well. One quick note here, Terry, before we hear a quick word from my company, Our Success Group, I did find out yesterday that we are actually on Audibles as well. I did not, when we got on Amazon Music, you automatically go on to Audibles, and I did not know that. So we'll get that linked over. So if you're one of those Audibles book readers, you can also subscribe to us over there on Audibles too, and catch the podcast versions over there. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and give us a review.
Yeah, give us a review. Right. All right. And Kristen did share 7 days at work makes 1 week.
I like it.
All right. Well, let's hear a quick word about business owner mindset that I wanted to share from Our Success Group, and then we'll get Stan in here. So I want to share with you 3 mental states most business owners struggle to master. It's goal setting so that you believe it's possible. It's facing fears to be able to step outside of your comfort zone. And finally, taking action even when you're not sure what action to take. Now, 90% of the challenges business owners have faced have nothing to do with the nuts and bolts of running a business. It's not the accounting, the production, or even the marketing. It is the mindset. Those challenges are nothing to overcome when you are a business owner with the proper mindset. At Our Success Group, we get to support decorators who are overwhelmed. For an investment of only $5. You can check it out for the first 30 days. Just head over to the website below to have more clarity and confidence in your business. All right. Well, see if OSG is something that could help you out in your business, and check that out there, Terry. So I wanted to just share those things. It's really interesting. The more I get involved with folks in their business, just watching them grow and evolve and seeing where the real kind of rubber's meeting the road, so to speak. So
that's awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get Stan in here, and he is ready and raring to go. I see he's even tagging us on Instagram. So all sorts of great stuff happening. Thanks, Stan. All right. So T-Shirt Side Hustle aligns its expert knowledge to companies to allow them to educate and market from the outside in, serving as audience of beginners who are just starting within the industry to seasoned professionals. T-Shirt Side Hustle collects the latest industry information, newest products, and inspiring stories, and creates conversation within the industry. Stan Banks, the owner and serial entrepreneur behind the T-Shirt Side Hustle, began helping people start their T-shirt businesses from home in 2017. After starting multiple hustles growing up, he found his place in 2011, where he pursued apparel decoration full-time. Having never worked a full-time job, in 2016, he obtained a security job for a $10 an hour with the sole purpose of securing health insurance. This is where he realized that it was not a sustainable income for anyone to provide for themselves or their family. This is where he decided he wanted to provide a valuable option for anyone who felt the same. On January 3rd, 2017, he set out to teach people what allowed him to survive for the past 6 months or 6 years, and T-Shirt Side Hustle was born. So really excited to talk. Welcome into the show, Stan. There we go.
How you doing?
Good.
All right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, and I love the bio. I kind of knew a little bit of the story, but be able to get all that, I can't wait to talk to you guys more about that. So everything going good for you today, though?
Yeah, I'm having a good day, man. I woke up, I got to check in with the team, and I'm feeling good. Summertime, it's the T-shirt business time right now.
All right.
So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Well, Stan, most people accidentally become a screen printer or some type of a garment decorator. Tell us how you got started in this industry.
It was an accident. Same way you just said it. It was an accident for me because I was out to try to promote a photography business that I had going on. I wanted to put my logo on shirts. I did know graphic design. I had like a long journey. So I started out, I grew up fixing computers, can break them, build them, put them together. Then from there, I wanted to learn web design. I did that, and that caused me to do graphic design. So as I was doing web design, I looked at my customers. And I'm like, man, I can't build a nice website. And I'm trying to figure out what it was. Did I not know enough coding or, all of this stuff? Before we had all of these Wix and Shopify, before all of that stuff, I was hand coding in Joomla and HTML, all of that stuff, similar to WordPress. And it came down to pictures. I was like, man, I need better photos. They're sending me screenshots. They're sending me, stuff that just wasn't quality photos to put on the websites. And if you know anything about websites, the photography really makes the difference. You can put stuff in different places, but good imagery will make a website look a lot better. So I picked up a camera. I went to Best Buy immediately and I started shooting. Next thing you know, I'm a photographer and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And so I wanted to promote this business now. And I was like doing it. And I had all of these successful hustles that, basically, like you said, allowed me to survive. I never, ever had a job at that point. So I was just going from one hustle to the next. And then, the next thing you know, I put my logo on a shirt and people just started to ask me, can you print mine? And I'm like, I'm not even like, it's not something I'm advertising, but I knew where to get them printed at. So I would just do the artwork. I would drop them off or send them to the printer and I would deliver them to the customer. And I would probably make about $100 per job because I would take a screen fee that I wasn't charged by the printer. I marked up the shirts only $1, so that's 25. I'm getting about 2 dozen shirt orders. So that's another 24, 25 bucks there. I'm at 50. And then I would charge them for the artwork to get it done. So it was anywhere from 30 to 75 bucks in that range. So I'm getting to bring home about 75 to 125 literally for just doing artwork and then dropping the shirts off as delivery because I had never touched a shirt, I'd never touched anything. Yeah. So that was kind of my start.
Cool. Very cool.
Wow.
And you're right. You kind of backed into the business like all of us did.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then just all the hustles and kind of the progression there too. I love that. That's great. So perfect. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And we've got some people dropping in here saying, what's up, Stan? We've got art department and 12 Gone Apparel. And Danny, thank you for saying to smash the like button. I appreciate that. And awesome. All right, Stan. Well, we talked a little bit about it in when I was reading your bio there. And here at Two Regular Guys, we're definitely all about the education and that rising tide kind of mentality. So what kind of was the catalyst that you decided you needed to help others learn how to do this?
Man, I just remember, at the time, it's like, if I needed money and I didn't have shirts, like I printed shirts to survive, or I did all of these hustles literally to survive. Yeah. By 2011, I had my daughter, my youngest daughter. Well, I guess not my youngest daughter now, but it was, I had a child and, I'm literally, doing these hustles to survive. I always felt like, I didn't knock anybody for getting a job, but I felt like I could make minimum wage like I would make at McDonald's doing anything. And I was able to prove that concept. But there were times where it gets hard. It gets hard. I robbed Peter to pay Paul. And people around me were always complaining who had jobs that they didn't have enough money. So they would go out and find another job, right? And it's like you're still capped at what you can make or do by the hourly rate that you're able to make, And I knew from printing shirts and doing things that, 100 and something bucks, like I just said, $100 is like somebody's full day of labor. And I was doing absolutely, not to say absolutely nothing, but in comparison, I wasn't working 5 hours part-time, whatever it was. I wasn't working that amount of hours. Yeah. And, literally the sky became the limit at that point. Yeah. So it made sense for me to be like, hey, well, if you need some extra money, I know something that you can do and you can kind of still have your free time of a sort. So I got a lot of friends, teammates, a lot of players that I coach who all have heat presses somewhere, who are all making shirts. And, even if they're not doing it on a consistent basis, they're doing it to have a side hustle, to make extra money, to make the bills hit less. I remember, having to not pay something to get Pampers or to do whatever it may be. And that was kind of it. Let me show you how to start to make an extra 300, 500 or $1,000 so you can have your life be a little bit easier on you, no matter what that may be. For some people, it may be, I need extra money to just take my family out and go on a vacation or to do anything so I can have something for myself, because all of the money that we're working 9 to 5s for is literally going right into bills, into living,
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about what your process is in helping people getting started in their own side hustle. And obviously this is a big part of your life now and in helping people do this. So what's the process?
So, my YouTube channel is just a wealth of information, and it's my growth. It's all of these different processes. Even right now, I'm still growing, right? So the store that I'm in right now, I know how much money that I can make if I sat right here every day, open the doors and said, I print shirts and have people come in. So now I'm trying to build a business that I'm not the one that actually doing the work in. So it's a journey on my YouTube channel. And some of those journeys are, it's a few years missing. Let's say that the first 6 years are missing in me studying and me having mentors and me learning the process because I wasn't, thinking in that mindset. But once I got to a good point where I felt comfortable and I had enough people around me, I actually wrote out 10 articles and I'm like, man, I can't write too well. So I need to rethink this whole thing. I wanted to have a blog, right? So I turned on the camera and I said, welcome to T-Shirt Side Hustle. So from that point on, I put out 150 videos in the first 30 days, right?
Wow. Oh my gosh.
There was a week that I did, like I posted my first video inviting to the channel. I think it was like a week break. And then after that, it was literally 150 videos. People asked me how I did it. And it was simple. I was doing the work every single day. So I just turned the camera on. Each job was a video. Hey, here's what I'm doing today. I'm going to be pressing up some hats. Hey, here's what I'm doing today. I'm going to be screen printing 24 shirts. So you can follow in their tutorials that actually tie into business. All right, I'm charging this much. This is how much I should be charging. Here's how much it's costing me. All of these assets that you need to build the business. I gave out a blueprint to what I was doing every single day. And throughout this entire journey, then I started to review machines and talk about machines and my perspectives on like different print methods. So, my YouTube channel is a blueprint. And then I kind of keep everything updated with my travels and meeting people and trying new things out and bringing other people like you guys are bringing me here now. I bring other people on the channel because I don't know everything. I've never did a full production embroidery, but I do contract print with an embroiderer down the street to make money and he makes money. So I bring other people on as well to share their stories. So my entire channel is a free learning center if you want to take the time to go through it and learn throughout the process.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's incredible. And 150 videos. I mean, like I said, it is interesting when people are like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? But, it's not that complicated. It just takes the hard work, right? You got to show up every day.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, we have our 450 podcast, but it took us 10 years.
That's it. You guys are overnight success. Like,
that's right.
I commend you guys on like the production and the way this is put together, and it's done really well. But you got to start somewhere. And I tell people who are getting into doing anything, and a lot of people are getting into YouTube now from their apparel businesses or anything. You got to be willing to put the work in when nobody's watching. Because you don't build a following. We all start from zero. I didn't wake up. I'm 5 years in. I just crossed 100,000 subscribers. And the print business is not going to be easy in the beginning. But I walked around my entire neighborhood with business cards and handed them out to everybody. I actually had circle business cards. And every once in a while, somebody, you was the guy with the circle business card. And one side had photography and one side had print, and to go through and to actually get out. A lot of people sit behind a computer expecting everything to happen for them. It can. But I know I run a local print shop, so getting out and meeting people and meeting businesses and shaking hands and doing some of those old things are the things that'll get you ahead.
Yeah, that's awesome. What great advice, Stan. Thank you so much for that. And Kira says, greatly appreciate all the information on your YouTube channel there. So there you go. And our department said, love hearing that story. It's motivational. Thank you. So awesome. Okay, Stan. So let's talk a little bit more nuts and bolts here then. When you're working with folks and you're helping them out and you're sharing with them and doing all this stuff, what are some of those big challenges that you're seeing new business owners kind of face as they come into the industry? What are the things that are tripping up most people as they get started?
So first thing is getting started, right? Like we want to consume all of the information. It's a ton of good YouTube videos and people doing great things. Some other people like Big Brando and Rich and a lot of people who are sharing their processes, right? And, I think that's great. But at some point, you got to stop watching the videos and you got to get started, right? Yeah. I have this saying where I'm like, all right, man, people say, I'm thinking about getting started. I'm ready to get started. All right, well, stop watching this video right now. We forgive you. Go buy the last thing that you look at. You're reading all these reviews and you're like, which one? Just get the one that you can afford and get started because that's going to get you in the game. And when you're in the game, the stuff that you talked about on the sideline is not going to be the things that's going to happen in the game, So once you're in the game, then you're good. A lot of people just need that encouragement, that permission, or an example, or someone who they can relate to give them the permission to get started. So I always tell people, listen, I give you the permission right now. Let's get started. So the next thing I would say is, finding the right equipment and choosing your path. Understand, when you get into this industry, it's going to change for you. As you start to do different jobs, you're going to figure out what you like to do and what you don't like to do. When we say all money isn't good money, you have to figure out what your ideal customer is, because sometimes, we want to please people in the beginning, which is fine. I think you should get the experience, but some point in that journey, you have to hone in on what it is that you enjoy doing that's making you a good, profitable amount of money. And once you identify that thing, then you go deeper and try harder to market and figure out and understand who that ideal customer is. So pay attention to the market, where you are in your area and all of that good stuff, but figure out what path you want to be on, because there's so much. You can spend so much money on equipment. Every year, something new. DTF is the new craze. Is it for you? If it's for you, jump into it, figure it out, but it may change, and be willing to make those changes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
I love that. Get started. Just get started. It's so easy to sit and make notes and plan and doodle your logo, but sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're totally speaking the two regular guys language here with both those things. It's about the action that you take. How much action can you take? And I think that's why people probably gravitate to you so much, right? You the hustle, you're getting after it. You're taking the action, and you took the action, and now you're showing people how to do it. That's really cool. So thank you for being that motivational piece. In fact, Todd from Fat Dad said Stan's been a great inspiration to our business. So
that's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Well, Stan, here at Two Regular Guys, we have a huge range of listeners, what we call our regulators. Some of them are brand new to the industry. Some of them have been around for a little while, like like me and Aaron, mostly me. So what can the folks that have been in the industry for a while, those established folks, the established businesses, what can they learn from the new people coming into this space?
So one of the things I believe is you should have a mentor and be a mentor at all times, right? And for somebody who's been in the industry for a while, man, we want to push the right way to do things on people, right? Like, who are coming into it. Oh, that's not the right way. One guy came on a video and said, you're showing people how to coat screens with one hand, and you should be doing it with two. And I'm just like, what in the world? Well, that's the industry standard. Well, the industry changes. Innovation happens from the people doing the work every single day. Yeah. That's where the fast innovation happens. It's going to take a company 5-10 years to take a hat press like this one here, like Stalls did, who made the original one, and curve it so that it doesn't leave press marks the way it does. But I can show you a lady in California who's built her press, the older press platens, over and molded it and did all these things and figured out how to stop her press that had its limitations to stop applying heat marks, right? Yeah. So when it comes to like new people getting in the industry, there's a lot to learn, because something as simple as like social media that can impact the business so greatly. Like, if you can take that from somebody and you can exchange knowledge, not only will that person who's just getting into the industry be a mentee to you, they'll be a mentor in things that they know that they can add to your business. And you'll see a lot of shops now have social presence where it wasn't even a thing before. Yeah. But some shops have been around for a long time, have embraced it. And I think that is kind of one of the main things that older shops can, or people who've been in the industry for some time, can take away. Maybe it's not on a super technical aspect of business, but now the new modern day ways of marketing, you can literally hire, your grandson, your niece, your nephew, or somebody, and they'll whiz around. And the next thing you know, you have a TikTok that is getting your business a lot more views, or Instagram reel or something like that. So those are like some of the main things. But as far as inside the industry, like I said, innovation happens, and one thing about people getting into the industry, they're still figuring it out. So they're trying a lot of different things, and you never know what is going to be something that could be impactful to your business. Heat transfers right now is awesome for screen print shops, but before it was like, we're not ever going to touch iron on. Screen printing is all we're ever going to do, right? And it has its limitations. So when you start to look at some of the new technologies, the first people to jump into those new technologies are the people just getting into the industry. And that kind of like allows it to work its kinks out. And then eventually it goes up and it's like, okay, now this is something that we can figure out how to fit into our business.
Yeah, I love that. And there are so many people in the industry who say you must do it this way. And I love you said that, because I always talk about it in my screen printing classes. And by the way, I've taught tens of thousands of people over the last 20 years my screen printing classes, and I teach them to coat with one hand. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is so, like, it's that beginner's mindset. I think that a lot of people that, like we talked about, are maybe a little more established, oh, this is the way we do it. I've always had this kind of picture of a guy getting gored during the running of the bulls as a thing that I reference when somebody's like, this is the way I always do it. Because it's like, well, just because that's the way they've always done it doesn't mean it might not be incredibly stupid after you learn, right?
Right.
To go put yourself in front of a couple ton bull that's really pissed off. I don't know. So anyhow, I love all that concept there, Stan, and the fact that you're helping them be okay, right? You gave them permission to start. You gave them permission to try new things. I think that can go a long way for no matter where you're at in business. So Stan, what when it comes to some of that kind of permission stuff, why is it that people struggle with that? Why do they need, an influencer like yourself to give them permission? Any ideas on that? That's a kind of left field question here, but
no, I think, we are people, we're cautious, right? And I mentor people in other businesses as well around me. And the number one thing that happens is like, there's no security in entrepreneurship, right? So it's like, if you want to leave your job at some point, there's no security in who's the last person. I thought, taking care of my family was a huge responsibility. If you asked me before, like maybe middle of last year, I'm like, yeah, so that is what we all need to do. But when you start to hire people, it's like, now I'm responsible for this person and their family, right? Yeah. And who gets paid last at the end of the day? It's me. It's like, I got to make sure if nothing happens. There's been weeks where I added something into the team or someone onto the team, and things need to get done. I'm like, okay, well, don't pay me this week. You know what I mean? And I'll have to figure different things out and try to implement them. So, that security factor of getting into entrepreneurship is one of the things that I think is very scary. And I'm not even talking about you're trying to go all in and leave your job, but it just makes it way more scary than anything else, because people don't want to fail, right? We're afraid to fail. But what I can tell you is, I don't think I've ever had an unsuccessful business, because once I put the money out and I made that money back, I was like, okay, now I've invested $1,000 or whatever it may be into getting a cheap screen heat press setup or whatever the case is. I've made that money back. I can pay myself back for that. Now I'm at a point where I'm operating in the green and I can have abundance. But sometimes we just look at the big picture and say, if I don't get here, then this isn't successful. You know what I mean? So I would say that's the main thing. And one of my favorite quotes is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, right? And I don't know if that was Les Brown or Zig Ziglar. I kind of get them two mixed up. I said, but I listened to him so much, but that was one of my favorite quotes, because, getting started and not being good at something is hey, I'm gonna go to the track, and I don't want to go to the track to work out to get myself in shape, because everybody at the track is already fit. People in the gym are already fit. They're going to look at me and I'm not going to be as good as them, but it took them time to get where they are. And, you don't always start out good. Some people have natural ability, but that natural ability still has to be cultivated in order to get somewhere.
Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. Great. All right. Well, Stan, I know this is a little bit further down the road, and so it's not as far as we might think, but the Start Here Academy happening out there in Charlotte, September 15th. And I've been watching you and seeing what you're doing out there, but this is where we really were able to connect. So tell us a little bit about maybe, are you excited to be out there? What's that excitement about? And what can people expect from you if they join us there at the Start Here Academy?
Yeah, so Start Here Academy is something that I think is great, right? Because a lot of companies in the industry have been doing things the same way for entire, like just years upon years upon years. And you'll see a lot of companies now, there's kind of three segments in the industry that they've kind of segmented out to: the consumer, the prosumer, and the professional, right? And it's about growing the industry. And I think, my place in the industry is where I kind of like drummed it down to is like to grow and develop the industry. At some point, I'm not going to be a mentor. If you get into a couple automatics, your first automatic, kudos, but I got to connect you with somebody else that may help you, and I think this is one of the things where a company who has trade shows and different things going on is reaching back to be a mentor and to provide an outlet to now grow the industry, give people the permission. It's me and two other influencers that are going to be there to share our stories about how we got started, to people who may have just gotten in or on the fence about getting into the industry. And it's going to be a good thing for us, or for the industry, because it's going to invite new people into it. It's going to give them somewhere to start. It's obviously, look, the name Start Here Academy, right? So it's going to give people something to start, and then they can go and experience the show and see all the things that are possible. If I never attended trade shows, I would have probably never seen the automatic screen print machine, right? Because there's nowhere that I can just walk in and go see a setup or someone that has one. More likely to see a manual setup or whatever the case is. So I think it's a great thing. It's a great initiative to grow the industry, to give people an outlet to come, to learn, to get the permission, like I said, and to be a part and be around people who are where they are and where they want to be at.
I'm picturing Stan, people leaving your session and going, okay, I'm ready. Let me get some equipment. I'm ready to go. While you were talking, and really previous question, I started thinking about people I've met in the industry. And I remember once I had somebody call me up and say, hey, I was in your class 3 years ago. I'm getting out of the business. I want to sell my equipment. I thought you might recommend someone. And then she said, all the equipment's brand new. And I said, well, what have you been doing for 3 years? And she said, market research. And the flip side is another guy that was in my class. He said, well, I knew I was coming to your class, but I had a buddy that needed 150 black sweatshirts with a 4-color print. So I said, well, you know what? I'll give it a try. And he goes, it took me 300 shirts to get 150 good ones. I thought, that's the guy I admire. He just jumped in and said, you know what? Let me figure it out. So I kept thinking about all these people as you're talking, and I'm motivated. I want to go out and do something big today.
we run into that all the time, and I run into those types of stories all the time. And every time you look around on Craigslist or something, you can find a whole shop for sale, right? Like, I think some of the today with social media, one of the downsides is entrepreneurship is glorified, right? And it's glorified so much that the things behind the scenes that you have to deal with and have to go through, they don't get talked about enough, at least to help people through them, and that's why I talk about my struggles right now, is that if I can't build this business without people to work with, because I'm on the road, I'm traveling. It's never going to go anywhere if I don't address some of these things. And with that came like health or worker insurance, workers comp, and just the building insurance, and like all of these things that come from the left and the right, and there's money going out the door, and it's like, man, nobody told me about none of this stuff, and I think, that's why the transparency, I think, helps us try to figure these things out. But if you get up and you go to events like this where you meet people, I've been at Print Hustlers, I've been at Shirt Lab, where I see the community that's built in these places where you can also talk to people where you are and get some advice and try to, because not everybody's making a YouTube video. Not everybody's out here to put everything in front of you. But once you're inside this industry, you get out, you go network, people will help you through these processes.
Yeah.
And this is something that now I'm looking at people, and I need to bring some mentors in. Like, man, listen, how can I improve this? When I get somebody in here to work, what workflow, and all of these things that I never had to think about, because I was just the person. Our job comes in, I'm doing the artwork, I'm pressing the shirts, I'm delivering it. I did everything. And now it's like you got to retrain yourself for a new set of skills.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
That's so true. And that's that constant growth, and the fact that you're willing to show people that reality, that's really powerful. So you're a video guy. I've got an idea for you on the workflow. So I'll catch up with you afterwards.
Nice.
Well, Stan, your website, tshirtsidehustle.com. Tell us about programs and books you have over there.
Yeah, so I'm actually reworking it right now, and I want to make it available to everybody. So I'm going to be implementing a new model, which is going to be pay what you want, right? I'm going to let people pay what they want. I never really wanted to charge for the information, just because of the roots of why I started. If you needed an extra 300, 500, or $1,000 to get started, this was my mission, not to charge you, because I can't take your last $5,000, but I do understand there is a different tier of people who may have the funds to get in with a more professional setup. So I am reworking it and rebuilding it, but I've written books, 2 books, one called Niches Bring Riches, which is about, how to really dive into a niche market, and different ways to strategize and to run it locally, organic marketing, no, not the Facebook ads route, which I commend people who figure that out and use it. I've never figured it out, but I've been able to use grassroots marketing techniques to build successful clothing brands. That's how I built a name for myself locally around me. And then one of the biggest questions is, what do I charge, right? So I wrote the heat transfer vinyl pricing guide, which is where I came up with a formula to how to figure out how much you should charge for vinyl shirts, if that's where you're starting at. And I have a few more in the works, and I'm also working on courses. So, and hopefully by the end of this year, this entire ecosystem on tshirtsidehustle.com will become more of a resource, more blog articles and different things like that to just advance the industry, and to give people a place where they can, a lot of people don't want to go through the YouTube catalog because it's not like ordered and for them. So we'll be producing some things that'll be straight to the point, in order to allow you to learn in one place and get the help that you need.
Awesome. Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Great. So Stan, and if the regulators here have any questions for you, now would be a great time to pop those into the comments here. But I obviously people need to go subscribe to your YouTube channel. So first tell us how to find that. And then is there anywhere else people should be connecting with you at? I know we mentioned the website already too, but how do people connect with you?
Yeah, so tshirtsidehustle.com, and then tshirtsidehustle on all social media. So that's YouTube, that's Instagram.
Nice.
I'm working on my TikTok a little bit. I will be getting there to kind of short form it, but that's pretty much the main places to get in contact. Man, I'm very, very accessible. Probably a lot more accessible than anybody with like a YouTube channel my size, because I travel to a lot of the shows. So if you're at a show, you may see me live and in person, and I'm out, just trying to meet people and be a part of the community, like I said, and help grow the industry. So all of the impression shows I'm at, obviously Start Here Academy, you guys should sign up and come and attend and view that show in North Carolina. And
Awesome. That's incredible. We've got just checking in to make sure we didn't miss any questions here. Darren says you will kill it on TikTok. So there you go. And so appreciate all the things that you're doing. Where's the next place you're going to be out on the road at that people can find you? I know we talked about Start Your Academy. Any trips before that?
Awesome. Yeah, I have an event called Made to Hustle coming up, where myself, Rich Khan from Hustle Ninjas, and A-Dub, or Alan Wade from A-Dub Productions, we'll be doing live training, and there'll be some speeches and lectures. We got 8 company sponsors who will be at this event in Fort Worth, Texas, June 25th and 26th. It's called Made to Hustle. You can find that at madetohustle.live. A 2-day event. Made Lab is a great industry place that's newly built with all of the state-of-the-art equipment. I believe seeing the stuff that may be out there, a lot of us had the mindset like, I'll never be able to afford this. I'll never be able to afford that. But, that is going to be what you attract. On the opposite side, if you know it's out there and you see it in operation, you'll know what it takes. If you ever want to go that far, you can go that far. You can take this stuff as far as you want to go. So Made Lab has put together a facility where you can go in there, you can train with a ton of different people over different times of the year. And you can experience some of the equipment that may be on your radar for the future. And also right across the street from there is Printed Threads, which is a successful screen print shop, which has, I think, 6 autos in there. And they do a lot of volume out of there. So we'll be creating this event to network. It's really for the home-based business right before you get to that professional level, to get there, to network, and to be around people that may be able to help you advance what you have going on. So that is something that I'm excited about because it's the first one built for this community. And I'm just trying to be the gap, man. Before you get to a Print Hustlers conference or before you get to some of these bigger conferences, where do we have to go to learn? And I'll just set out to build that.
That's awesome. Wow. Stan, you're doing some amazing things. Thank you so much for all your contributing to the industry. And we appreciate you joining us here on the Two Regular Guys to share all that. Like a lot of people have said, very inspirational, great stuff. So without further ado, Stan, we're going to let you get back to your day. Thank you again so much for being here, and can't wait to get to meet you in person there in Charlotte at the Start Here Academy. And we might see if we can round up all 3 of our influencers that are going to be there, and maybe have you guys back one more time to just get a little deeper into Start Here Academy. But we appreciate all your time today, Stan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stan.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, Terry, very inspirational. And I just love that, we all speak the same language, right? And that's when you get people like Stan that are so, I mean, what stood out to me most the whole time is all he talked about was he just wanted to grow the industry,
Yeah,
right? And that's kind of been our whole point here at Two Regular Guys is, we just want to grow the industry. We just want to be able to give people a platform to share and learn and move forward.
Yeah.
So it's really cool when
you love seeing and obviously Stan's been around for a little while. I had never met Stan before, but obviously he has just a new face in the industry, and that and the younger folks coming into the industry, the enthusiasm,
yeah.
So I just
really
love
cool.
hearing it, and he's so right about we can all learn from the new people coming into the industry, because just like you and I and Eric, we all were those experimenters at one time and trying to find a better way to do this, and that, I guess that's why we're speaking at events, because we did that same thing. We were tinkering around. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, and still sharing those ideas as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, he talked about, just get out there and get started. Right. And I
love that.
Think of back to our time when we first started Two Regular Guys. He was exactly right. It was you and I talking to each other, and somehow Eric showed up. And I think a lot of times it was just the 3 of us sitting there, Eric in the chat room, you and I talking about whatever. And so, it's pretty cool to see how people progress and grow. So, thank you, Pink's Teas and Things. An awesome interview. Yeah, great job, Stan. Thank you for your time. All right. Well, Terry, we've got 5 things here from the creator of the name Regulators, Christine Shreve, who also does Women in Business podcast and is I believe that her official title is marketing director over there at Lenny Penny and Applique Getaway. So, so really great person here. And she's got a wonderful 5 things for us. So, Eric, there's going to be a whole lot of button pushing if you're ready. So whenever you're ready, sir, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Christine Shreve from LennyPenny.com, Applique Getaway, and Christine Shreve Consulting. Lots of companies there, I know. And I'm here today to talk about 5 ways to build a vibrant Facebook community. First way, know your why. Aaron Montgomery says this all the time, so I kind of feel like I stole this from him. But when it comes to a group, knowing why the group exists is very important. And your why can be very different. It can be because you want to educate people, because you want to share in a like or dislike that you have, because you want to provide support, whatever it is. Just be aware of what the goal of your group is and make sure that everything you do is aimed toward accomplishing that goal or meeting that why. Number 2, make rules and stick to them. This is something that unsuccessful groups don't do well. First of all, make sure that your rules are well thought out. What do you really care does happen or doesn't happen in your group, and make a rule for it. And then make sure that the rules apply equally to everyone. So don't bend the rules for moderators or admins. Don't bend the rules for yourself necessarily. Or if you're going to, make it clear why that's happening. The third thing, know your market. The people who join your group are joining for a specific reason, and you need to understand what those reasons are so you can provide the things that they're looking for. Successful groups meet the needs of their members, and the only way to meet those needs is to know what they are, and the only way to know that is to know your market. So make sure you do research. Talk to the people who are in your group. Ask them what they're looking for, and then make sure they get those things. Number 4, engage genuinely. And by this, I mean, make sure that you're talking to people, but make sure you're doing it because you're really interested and you want to know what they have to say. There's nothing worse than someone who's interacting with you and you can tell that they're doing it because they think they should be doing it. So if you're running a group and you don't really care about the people in your group, you probably shouldn't be running a group. Be genuine, be caring, be interested, and your group will be vibrant for years to come. And finally, in order to have a group that is vibrant and viable, you need to promote yourself. Make sure people know you're out there. In my group, Women in Garment Decoration, we talk about letting people know and recruiting new members to come and join us all the time. And we flat out ask people, please, let people know if you enjoy this group so they can be a part of it too. That's very important. And those are 5 ways to create a vibrant and healthy and useful Facebook group. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Awesome.
It's great. 5 things. And we Terry, I always love when we get outside people bringing in 5 things because the whole point of 5 things is it's a new perspective. It's a way to get the conversation started. And, Christine explained it really well, but she kept to the, hit the points. And, I think having an opportunity to continue that conversation later on is going to be great. So we clip all that stuff out and we'll share those separately. We're starting to do that more now. And so loving the 5 things. Terry.
And you too can contribute 5 things. Everybody out there listening right now, we'd love to, especially the video today that's awesome. We'd love to be able to play your video and the 5 things can be about anything in the world. So
Yep. No limitations, just 5 points that you want to, start a conversation around. And maybe it's 5 tips, maybe it's 5, Crystal shared, 5 reasons why you need to keep your shop clean not too long ago, a couple of shows ago for us.
Yeah,
so
5 business books that changed your life.
There you go. Perfect. I'm writing that down, Terry. No, I won't steal that. I'll leave that out there for somebody that wants to jump in there. So if you do want to do 5 things, go over to tworegularguys.com/5 things. And right in there, all the details that you need as far as if you want to just record a voice version that we can play, that totally is fine too. If you want to do the video like Christine, you can email that over to us. If you want to just email us what they are and then we'll read them, that's totally fine too. Or if you want to come on live and share your own, you can do that as well. So any of those things, go to tworegularguys.com/5 things. And so Terry, what is coming up for you, sir?
Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, my bags are packed and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm leaving this afternoon for my complete screen printing business class with Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. That class is completely sold out, as they always sell the class out there in Chicago. My class here at Workhorse Products in Phoenix will be June 11th and 12th. We have a few spots open for that class if you'd like to come out to Phoenix in June. And I am doing a free direct-to-garment seminar at Graphics Pro Expo in Indianapolis. That'll be 11 to 12:30 on June 2nd. That will be that's Thursday, the first day of the show. Okay. And as I said, it's free, and we're going to have some drawings, giving away a hat press and a few other really cool items. So go and you have to sign up ahead of time, but absolutely free. All my upcoming classes and events you can find at my website, terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron? What's coming up?
Yeah, I've got a few things coming up here. Before we get to that, though, I did want to share Todd's comment here about the 5 things. He said 5 foods to stay away from before traveling. So, Todd, we expect to see that video in our email box here soon. So info@tworegularguys.com.
How about this one? 5 things that Aaron say are a good idea when you're out, but really aren't.
I thought there was only one thing there, Terry. Shots, right? Shots are never a good idea.
Never a good idea.
But in the moment, they always feel like a good idea. All right. All right. So coming up for me, working on the Skills USA competition. Still lots of great stuff happening this week. So really kind of coming together. Thanks very much to Stalls, to Insta, to Mamaki, to Condi, to Toby Hall, just a ton of great people. I know I've probably missed some people, so I will have a list of all the people I'm going to thank in a little more formal way, but they've really been coming through. Stalls have made a huge commitment and going to step up in a big way, so we really appreciate them with the presses and what they're doing. Sawgrass is going to be not only sending out a judge, but has a printer that we're going to use and then give away as a prize. So really cool stuff. Still need more prizes though. So if you're interested in supporting Skills USA, which is happening out in Atlanta, Georgia, the 22nd and 23rd at the Georgia World Congress Center, really cool event. So you can come out. It's free to get into. It's not a traditional trade show. It's young people competing in all sorts of things. There's 100 and I don't know. I never get the number right. I think it's in the 120 range of different competitions going on. So everything from like nail and hair care to cooking to HVAC to mechanical, but like auto mechanics and carpentry. I mean, you've got the full gamut of trade type programs. And then we've got sublimation, there's screen printing, and there's graphics printing as well. So anyhow, check that out. And if you would like to, Eric's got it on the screen down there, but skillsusa.org is where you want to go to get more information. But if you would like to support this event, provide some prizes, get involved, whatever it is, I just get to be the coordinator. So it's not my event, it's the community's event. I just am tasked with kind of coordinating all of it. So if you'll reach out to me and get involved, it's Aaron@tworegularguys.com. Still could use some prizes to make sure that we're showing up and showing off how amazing the sublimation world is, and our industry as a whole, actually. So appreciate all the support. So that's one thing. Let's see. Next thing here, I've got I guess it's next week. Wow, it's coming up quick. Next week, the Sublimation Summit virtual event is happening. So if you'll go to sublimationsummit.com. And once you're there, if you'll use the coupon code OSG10, that'll get you $10 off the registration. So that coupon code again is OSG10 over at sublimationsummit.com. And then the other thing for me to share, we talked about it a little bit with Stan, but I am super excited about the Start Here Academy. I can't wait to just be a part of it. I get to be kind of the hype man. I get to be kind of the the MC is the official term, I believe, but just to kind of be there and be in the middle of that and to be able to have conversations. You know, I plan on hanging out afterwards at the show and you know, maybe we'll record some podcasts, kind of post with people like Stan and Lisa and Eve. And so it's going to be great to be able to highlight those people and get them an opportunity to listen in and be right there for their story. So we've got, we had Stan here today. Eve will be joining us next week. And so excited to talk to her. So yeah, check that out at graphics-pro-expo.com and then start-here-academy. So we'll have to make a short link for that for those people listening in on the podcast side. All right. Well, that's what's happening for me. Terry, would you share what Eric's got coming up here?
Yeah, absolutely. You can join Eric today on The Take Up. This week it is The Take Up episode 112. It's Q&A about machine embroidery coverage, composition, and texturing tests. Eric likes to trip me up with the titles of his events. Digitizing for print, wherein he'll open his messaging to answer and discuss some recent machine embroidery and digitizing questions from settings for extra color coverage to composition in one of his most shared patches, because we love talking patches, right, Eric? And to easily creating a distressed, rough edge textured fill without a ton of manual intervention. Head over to ericcampbell.com and click on the Take Up at the top of the menu playlist. And he also has an extended session making small run patches coming up at Impressions Expo Fort Worth, impressionsexpo.com.
Excellent. Yeah, get out and check that out. Terry, let me just read through some of the upcoming events and trade shows here, since we got a little extra time today. So we talked about it already, but you and I will both be out there at the Graphics Pro Expo. I get to go hang out in the booth with the Corel Trainer guys and just be at the event. So that's going to be fun for me. I'm not locked in a booth all day like you, so I'll be out and about, hopefully getting to meet and talk to a lot of people. But that's Indianapolis, Indiana, June 2nd through the 4th for Graphics Pro Expo. I just talked about Skillsusa happening June 20th through the 24th. The competition's actually the 22nd and 23rd. We'll get more details and make sure this is on our website here, but Stan just told us about made2hustle.live. And if I remember the dates right, June 25th-ish. Yep, he's giving us a head shake there. Thank you, Stan. So check that out, made2hustle.live. And then Applique Getaway coming up in Dallas, Texas, July 15th through the 17th. Graphics Pro Expo Meadowlands, New Jersey there, which, Terry, that's just right outside of New York City, really, right?
It is Secaucus, okay. New Jersey. If you ever went to New York City on the train, you change trains in Secaucus.
There you go.
It's also Meadowlands is also where the Giants and the Jets play their games.
There you go. Okay, so out there in the Meadowlands, that's July 21st and the 22nd. Then Graphics Pro Expo in Long Beach happening August 4th through the 6th. Graphics Pro Expo in Charlotte happening the 16th and the 17th. We just talked about the Start Here Academy the night before. That's 4 to 8 p.m. the evening before. So it's kind of a night school. And I did hear there's going to be refreshments there and maybe a few snacks too. So I never shy away from refreshments and snacks. And then, kind of rounding out the year here, we've got the Sublimation Summit Live, the in-person event that they're having in Peachtree City, Georgia, September 22nd through the 24th. And I will actually be at that particular event teaching there. Everything Embroidery Market in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, happening that same weekend there, September 22nd and 24th. So I'm actually going from Peachtree City to Myrtle Beach in an evening. So I will be at both of those events. Friday at Sublimation Summit, Saturday at Everything Embroidery Market. And then Impressions Expo Fort Worth that Eric mentioned is coming up September 30th through October 2nd. And then we will be out at the Printing United in Las Vegas, October 19th through the 21st. And there will be a Two Regular Guys booth there. So come and check it out and hanging out. We're going to have people hanging out with us. I think Nikki from the SAS is going to kind of come and hang out a little bit here and there. And I know the guys at Corel Trainer are probably going to be there hanging out. So we're just going to have a nice little industry party there in the Two Regular Guys booth. And
exactly.
Looking forward to that. So, all right, Terry. Well, I think we've come to the close of another show. We want to thank Stan for his time today and all the great information and inspiration. Again, check him out at tshirtsidehustle.com. Make sure that you're subscribed to his YouTube channel. It'll be one of the best things that you do for yourself and your education and your learning. And so while you're over there at YouTube, you can subscribe to him, and then maybe he can send a couple followers our way.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Stan. I appreciate it once again.
And as always, we want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for pushing all the right buttons over there, Eric.
Yeah, he's quite the button pusher. So Eric, we appreciate it. And thank you very much. So next week, as I mentioned, we're going to have Eve Laurie from the Baby's Booty to talk about education in the garment decorating industry. Another one of the influencers from Start Here Academy. So we're looking forward to talking to Eve next week. And I can't wait for that, Terry.
Yeah. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.